For decades, developers have been circling this prime piece of Brisbane land. And for just as long, concerned citizens have fended them off.
It is such a valuable piece of green space because it's right in the middle of where they've increased the density very dramatically.
Or as the Premier would say, perfect place for a big stadium.
Yeah, no. We've been shown pretty pictures. We have nothing that is a definite of what this government has planned for this site.
Victoria Park, Brisbane, was reserved for public parkland by Queensland's colonial government in the 19th century and has lived several lives since. Housing migrants, the military, even golfers. It's also a significant place for First Nations people. It was about a year ago that the Queensland Premier broke an election promise.
If you're asking me whether or not I support a new stadium, the answer is no.
David Crisafulli announcing that Victoria Park would be the perfect place for the game's centrepiece, a 63,000-seat venue.
And I am sorry, and it's my decision, and I accept that decision.
The Olympic torch is meant to arrive here in 6 years, but so far, all that's been produced are these conceptual visions. In just a few days' time, the state's Games Infrastructure Authority will formally take ownership of this heritage-listed park, gazetting it off from the public to commence early works. And that's despite the fact they haven't provided the public with three key things, being the finalised stadium design, a business case, nor a full breakdown of the projected costs.
It's a standard development approach, generally referred to as salami tactics. And that is you just slice off a little piece of information at a time without disclosing the whole plan. And then when you disclose the whole plan, it's all over Red Rover.
Neil Peach is part of a community committee that calls itself the Games Watchdog.
Because we are going to see one of the biggest transfers of wealth from the public to the private sector that we have ever seen under this government.
Mayors, councillors, ladies and gentlemen.
The government says the stadium will cost nearly $3.8 billion to build, which is more than half the total venue's delivery budget.
It's been a busy 12 months. We'd introduced legislation and passed it soon after to ensure this huge swathe of infrastructure is completed on time and on budget.
Olympic venues are now exempt from 15 state planning, environmental and heritage laws.
Making up for the 1,200 days of lost opportunity, chaos and crisis under the former government.
The timing of those legislative changes has raised eyebrows. The government also lifted a ban that previously blocked property developers from making political donations. Queensland's Triple C had warned that could exacerbate real and or perceived risk of undue or improper influence in the lead up to the Games. Even so, the Deputy Premier is still looking to the private sector.
In the $7.1 billion, if the private sector want to engage with us to bring down that cost, absolutely happy to accept. If there are deals to be done, then absolutely.
So it's sort of the perfect storm that we're seeing with the rollout of the Queensland Olympic Games projects.
Clancy Moore's part of an international anti-corruption group closely monitoring the Brisbane Games.
When you see billions of dollars of public money going towards infrastructure projects, quick timelines, fast tracking, there's obviously going to be a risk of corruption, and it's really important that the government, in this case Queensland, does all it can to prevent corruption taking hold in the first place.
We put all those concerns to the Premier, and this was his response.
People will see this project delivered and they'll see it a world-class project. And at our first hurdle, we've already increased the amount of public green space that will be upgraded for free for every Queenslander. I think that shows that we're fair income about doing this properly.
We're doing this properly. We set up a Games Independent Infrastructure Coordination Authority. We are applying a very, very strong financial accountability process, so making sure these projects don't blow out.
But since the venues plan was released, community groups have been warring with the state government.
There's red flags everywhere to us, and we have been saying them loudly and longly for over 12 months.
My response to Save Victoria Park, loopy. Look, the Save Victoria Park group are just a bunch of NIMBYs that don't want anything to happen. They believe this park has been activated for years. It wasn't. It was a golf course. Before it was a golf course, it was a dump, for goodness sake. Like, seriously.
But with the fences planned to go up on Monday, those so-called NIMBYs made a last-ditch attempt to prove the park shouldn't be developed.
This is just such an aberration to our whole Guri being.
Warning construction could threaten a unique natural spring with cultural significance. That was until a trailer load of fencing arrived a few metres away.
It is intimidating and it's unfair.
Along with a representative from the Games Infrastructure Authority.
You need to stop. Stop trying to intimidate them.
The authority denies it was a deliberate distraction, but today those camping were warned their days on the green are numbered.
These protesters have been given ample opportunity to leave Victoria Park. This is going to be a safety issue. It will be a construction site. Fencing will be going up, and like any construction site in Queensland, we can't just have people protesting and camping on construction sites.
Do you think this is going to end up in court?
I really do think there is a high potential. We don't want the Olympics to fail. If we listen to reason, we could find other alternatives, and it would be a smarter, fairer and greener Olympics for everyone.
Have a look at the upgrades and have a look at those renders. If it's going to be world class, it will be a great legacy for the city, it really will.